All right, babies, we're back. So yesterday I started with a video. I went on it for a bit, just but then I realized my actual notes was three videos in one, or at the very least three ideas in one that I kind of crammed in a video, which shows that sometimes when I'm kind of when I start writing down what's going on in my mind, my mind kind of I notice how I don't really notice how it's connecting different things that have maybe are related, maybe not really are related. But anyways, this is the note. A triggered day from X guy, thinking about the public need for your platform to work and the engagement with this another guy about personal brands. All right. So these are three things, man. Anyways, it's funny because the triggering part is just how somebody is the dude himself, man, is not really a bad dude. It's just very self-oriented, self-centered, egocentric. Yes, egotistical actually. He's egotistical. So he very much just doesn't really. If he has nothing to do, he will go bother people that are doing something just because he kind of looks and goes "Oh, I thought I could." It's that stupid kind of always. I'm imagining that. Why would you not like me? Why would you? I thought we're friends, so I can do this kind of shit. Boundaries are kind of for him dismal. But so I was a bit of an asshole that day to him. And then for some reason, I started thinking about the public need for your platform at work. And I got to work. And the platform that I'm talking about is the one that I'm building, actually, the platform that results in the gamification of society. And the essence of it, the way I see it, is that every single person wants to achieve their goals. And their goals are kind of you have to create the ego, your own personal ego, that kind of builds up to the individual that can attain these goals. So I'm under the firm belief that all of us, we kind of have our own traits when we're born, but the environment kind of molds us into whatever it is that we become. And so it's the whole thing. If we get to choose different environments, then we're shifting basically characters. We're moving, not characters. We're shifting. Personality and character are two things that should always remain with us. Your character is always tested, and your personality is consistent. Should be consistent. Your character is always tested, and it's based on principles. But personality should be consistent. Consistent because you're either a good guy or not a good guy, right? My favorite, one of my favorite comedians, Jimmy Carr, once said, if you do something off and you're rude to somebody or something, first time it's okay. The second time, you're going through something. The third time you might be depressed. The fourth time you're just an asshole. It's kind of for me, it kind of made me feel so fucking good simply because you really don't have. And I think the modern world is always kind of trying to bring out the empathetic people in us, and we're always trying to find an excuse for something not to work. But the reality is, most of the time, it's just not working because the people don't want to work. So, which is fun, which is fine. But ultimately, the way I see it is if there's an individual that wants to reach their goals, modern society was supposed to be built for survival. Wasn't supposed to be built for survival. It was supposed to be built for us to kind of not really have to survive. But the thing is, we kind of gave up physical survival and it became a social survival thing. For some fucking reason, society right now is even more oppressive than nature ever did because, nature tries to kill us physically, while society tries to kill us morally, mentally, and all those kind of things. And you can't help but blame people because, you can't, you can't not help. You shouldn't blame people, so you can't help but not blame them. And if anything, that's the only time you have to be empathetic because you kind of have to feel if you really never was able to see something for what it truly is and have always been shown, then your opinion is not really your own. But it takes a lot for somebody to kind of develop a solid opinion that he himself does not doubt because your own opinion is kind of like something that you build upon. You have to like structure. You have to like you have to check with the details. You have to like follow through with a whole lot of like just added value in between for it to actually make sense to you, so that when you have it and people look at you and ask you a question or just debate it or negotiate with it, you kind of have to like have a solid backing. Just like you yourself have to be solid about it, and then we kind of have to have a solid backing, or else society would do its thing and kind of like gang up on you, and you could fucking dissipate your like sense of like love or feeling or strength or confidence and all those like positive things. But so like if an individual wants to actually evolve within society, they really have to like create their own path. Now there are like certain paths that are already done. Like if you want to be a doctor, fuck yeah, like, yeah, it's a lot easier to do it. Systematically, there's a need for doctors. There's also a need for bankers, and there's also a need for in society. There's also a need for public workers. There's also a need for like I want to say architects, but the reality is if you just look at modern day architecture, you realize that 90% of people of architects are not really like being creative and artistic. They're just kind of like giving you the bare minimum for a certain price. And I don't really believe that that's the architect's fault, but more like the actual system itself was designed around capitalism. So the whole we need to make money fast in order for us to kind of like continue surviving or whatever it is that we do. So it kind of kills the creative part of it. But if you look at society, you get to see three things specifically about it. You get to see the people that are like supporting society as it is, the people that are supporting humanity in society, and then the people that are kind of like drafting their own way in society and kind of like gaining a following and eventually like being leaders in their fields or just game changers, I would call them. So, and I think everyone kind of like could actually have a chance to do whatever the fuck they want. Why not? But the problem is, it's just like very random, haphazard. And the best way I would actually explain it is it's just all over the place. So for you to be able to kind of like reach your goal, you kind of have to eliminate a whole lot of nonsense around you first things first. Secondly, you kind of have to establish because everyone's goals are kind of like personal to them. And even though you can always find like some track that's been done at some point, you're always going to get friction because it's the nature of how we operate as human beings. We're always going to look at people and we're going to want to challenge them until we don't have any energy left to do that, and then we either succumb to their like wills or choose to get inspired by their wills or just kind of like move away from them or fucking break them. That's how wars happen. So fights happen, drama happens, whatever. So you're gonna face a whole lot of challenges, and most of the time it's like if you if you're clear about what you want to do or what your goal is or how you want to achieve it, then all you have to do is kind of like figure out how other people have came closer to it and all that stuff. And that's practically how you move forward towards it. You kind of like start checking out what are the things that might contribute to you actually reaching your goal, and you start digging in and you seeing what people did when it came to it, and then you research more, and then you meet the people in order to engage, because like meeting the people shows you the kind of characteristics, the lifestyles that would actually make it succeed, because like the way you process your day would change depending on your goal. It has to keep like adapting to the new person that you're becoming in order for that goal of yours to become like yours. And you kind of have to be more yourself in order for you to actually make the goal more yours. And you have to kind of like take charge of certain things. And all of these require a whole lot of feelings and emotions that kind of society like kills in you or just like takes away or refines. I don't know. Like if you like man, one of my favorite memes, I think like about when memes started happening was like it's like a log, a freshly beautiful log, just walking into the house. A log, literally walking into a classroom, and the teacher is an actual axe, and all the other students are kind of like chipped into corners and like made into like 3 by 3 or 2 by 2, whatever. You know how like a square block is? It's a wooden stick. What do they call them, man? The carpenters like big ass like wooden pillar thingies that they use in order to build walls and stuff. They're clean cut and everything like this. So like an actual like log that's full of creativity and all kinds of crevices and thoughts and differences are kind of like chipped down to become like uniform. And then from there they go like go be whoever you are, but like you kind of have to go through like to figure out what you lost until for you to actually start growing again. And I feel like the personal branding that I'm always on about and always asking people what are their intentions towards the world is always kind of like pointing in that direction. And that's what I want to actually like reflect in my platform. And what maybe talking to this guy actually just made me realize that he is one thing that he's trying to show, but he's a completely different person. That's that I would not want to actually engage with. But online, if you actually look at him, you're going to see that he's more than what he truly is, simply because the modern day actually allows us to create a persona for people to interact with that has nothing to do with our true selves. And the reality is, when the time comes, when push comes to shove, it's always your true self that reveals itself and takes over. So you can only imagine, like, in times of need, who is the one that you most want to rely on? Somebody that's kind of like creating a persona for themselves, or somebody that's like, honest to God, just on it. Okay, that could be a good ending. All right. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.